Hey guys, welcome back to Real Housewives Recaps. I am so glad you're here. I am excited to get into this part of the book. This is the juicy stuff I've been waiting for. It's been juicy all along, but it's getting extra juicy. I'm here for it. Love Lady C. You can hear the glee in my voice as I talk about this. So today we are covering, let's see here, chapter 6 and chapter 7. So timeline, I'm going to be talking about from the time that they they were about to get married. It's about, I think I left off about mid-engagement or around that time. So it's about the time they're getting married up until they announced what was happening at Eugenie's wedding. So get ready for that. I'm excited. Thank you so much for being here. Honk honk, everyone. I appreciate you all so much. You've left me such good feedback on the recapping of this book, and I want you to know how much it truly means to me. And a big thank you for reading this along with me. All right, let's jump into this. Eek! All right, so we're right before the wedding. And remember, she didn't want any of her old friends raining on her parade. So she didn't invite anybody except for her mom and then a whole bunch of celebrities. Oh, she also invited, I forgot about this, as many people as she could from philanthropy world. So that way, according to Lady C, she could just look more influential, more like she's done more things, right? More good things. And again, I say, where have we seen this? Oh yeah, every time they buy an award, they do crap like this. Look how good we are. But then when it comes time to actually following through and, I don't know, doing something, see Africa Parks for details. Nothing. Crickets. Won't help. Not a word. Nothing. So Lady C goes into how her wedding was an opportunity to cultivate people she'd barely met. Talking about, of course, Meghan. And people that would be useful to her in the future. And people she's naming off here are people like Oprah, people like George and Amal Clooney, different people like that. Okay. I'm just stuck on this. I really am. Just how embarrassed. It's so embarrassing. And something that Lady C reminds us of is throughout this, she goes into, I guess, apparently, I never really read the TIG. I've gone back and looked at it since, but obviously at the time I didn't. Apparently she used the word classy quite a bit. And as Lady C points out, if you have to explain that you're classy, you're probably not classy. So I love Lady C so much. I will put a disclaimer here. Again, the new stuff is mixed in with the original book. So I'm trying to pick out the new stuff because I know that's what you're here for. But I'm telling you, I love this part of the book so much. Forgive me if I take a little liberty and revisit some of these moments because it's so good. They are such a-holes, and I just can't wait to talk about it with you. Okay. But in this section, Lady C added a new part since the original part. So here we go. Let's talk about that. So around this time, she's talking about Meghan and how ambitious, I think that's a nice way of putting that, financially driven she is. And Lady C says a royal cousin talked to her about this and says once Harry announced that they were retiring from royal life to make their fortune financially, it became clear that a senior royal having one of the most eminent positions on earth was not sufficient for her. Just let that sink in. I think that's so funny. I really thought she would marry and instantly have billions of dollars. I don't know what she thought. Haha, jokes on her. She ended up stuck with doofus and not much money. So not everyone thinks that her ambitions are limited to lining her pockets to the full extent of her capacity. I've heard that she intends down the line, ready? We've been through this before, to run for president. So this is, again, according to Lady C, quoting one of Harry's old friends who allegedly told her in about 2020 that she's supposed to be, again, according to Lady C, she's using Harry to improve her chances for running for president. Now, again, this was told to Lady C in 2020. I got to think in 2024, she's got to realize that's just never, ever going to happen. Now, at the time of this recording, I'm recording this, it doesn't matter, one evening, and it's just been announced that, I don't know if it's official, but they're saying that those two have inserted themselves in our elections here to make sure that there's not misinformation or some other buzzwords that they're using spread around. And I'm like, what are we talking about? They are the my God, I almost gave them titles. The king and queen. They're the king and queen of misinformation. They finally get some titles. Those I can agree with. No, but seriously, they are the worst about, out of their own mouths, they contradict themselves constantly. So how are they going to keep anything straight? These two do not need to go anywhere near talking about America's anything. And I don't get political here, but our politics are so bad. Doesn't matter which side you're on. I just think everything's so screwed up right now. These two wading in could not possibly help anything ever, but especially not now. Like, get the hell away. What do you have to offer anything, or anyone, should I say, both of them? But again, it's funny that we hear that she's thinking of running for president, because remember, not terribly long ago, that rumor was going around, something like that. But again, I know she thinks she's the greatest and hung the moon, but do you think she realizes, I don't fully understand narcissists, but do you think she realizes how disliked she is? Like, when she sees those quote unquote popularity polls, do you ever think it sinks in like, oh shit, I probably can't run for president? Or you think she just thinks everything I do is wonderful, I can be president, I'm the greatest, probably something like that. And Lady C continues and says, let's see if she achieves her objective. Talking about being president. One thing's for sure, she never had any respect for the institution she married into. And that's exactly it. If their goal was actually to do good, they really had every opportunity to do good. And you can't have a bigger spotlight than the one that they had, but they can't not be a-holes. So here we are. They ruin everything. Everything they touch turns to you know what. So here we are. There's no way. There's no way on politics. And again, I don't go into politics. I'll just say I don't like anybody in politics. I'm just not a fan. So yeah, maybe they do belong then, because I can't stand them either. I don't know. I just, why in the world would she think that she had any kind of shot when her approval rating is so in the trash and she can't even get her shit together to put together a website? So how she thinks she's going to be president? So in the run up to the wedding, she again had this mindset where she decided, you know what, I'm just going to buck all royal tradition. And according to Lady C, completely had the full backing of Harry, because he's an idiot. He can't think his way out of a wet paper bag. But she was training him. Again, they go into this like he was a puppy following her around. We saw that. I think he still kind of does that. But then again, he also looks disgusted by her a lot of times. So it's hard to tell. He oscillates between puppy and disgusted. But apparently, again, Lady C mentions this a couple times. That little fuck actually did walk around saying, what Meghan wants, Meghan gets. Remember, he said, I didn't say that. But again, I don't believe anything he says ever. There were incidents such as Meghan reducing Catherine, Princess of Wales, to tears over Charlotte's dress. And again, I fully believe that's exactly what happened. I've been over and over this. Like, she's just awful. She's always been, I think she just has this inferiority complex when it comes to Catherine, because, hello, Catherine's wonderful. But I'm saying she feels it. So she tries to take Catherine down, and we've seen it over and over and targeting her for years. So it sounds like, she goes into an incident. She didn't really explain it, but Meghan virtually calling a member of staff a liar, and the woman was patently telling the truth, which resulted in Meghan being informed that one does not speak to staff like that by Her Majesty the late Queen. There was the kerfuffle over the mustiness of St. George's Chapel, which resulted in Meghan being blocked from spraying scent all over the ancient chapel. And then to quote Lady C, I love this so much. I don't know if this was an add-on. I don't care. It's wonderful. She says, so that it would smell like the ladies' room at the Soho House. Come on. She knows what she's doing. She so did that on purpose. I love Lady C. So then Lady C says that Meghan... So Harry's mantra is what Meghan wants, Meghan gets. Well, Meghan's was, it's our wedding. We want it done our way. And Harry had no idea that the R was actually meant to be It's my wedding. I want it done my way. And he just went around again, according to Lady C, saying what Meghan wants, Meghan gets. I remember hearing the one time, I may have read this before, again, it's been a while, and forgot that apparently he said this multiple times. It just makes him such a douche. So then the palace is having to get involved, saying, Meghan, don't you think you should invite some of your family? Her priority was celebrities. Lady C, she adds on this part to explain that her duplicity would be exposed during that Netflix, whatever, faux documentary. And as we talked about in another episode, we talked about Ashley and how Meghan told her that the palace had refused to allow her to invite Ashley and blamed it on the relationship with Samantha. Of course, Ashley is Samantha's daughter. So this is something that the palace has denied. And Lady C says she knows that what Meghan's saying is not true. And that when Lady C was writing the original version of this book, it was 2019, that she was told by several sources said that what Meghan was saying makes no sense because, again, the palace had expressed concerns about this. Courtiers had expressed concerns. The Queen herself had expressed concerns, and they even bring up Prince Philip brought it up, that family's so important and that Meghan could be exposing her family to such humiliation. Well, this person said he wasn't sure whether she simply was ignorant about it or didn't care, but thought it just wasn't to her credit and was an error of judgment, but she was just refusing to have her family there. She goes on to explain that just Meghan remained indifferent about it. She didn't care about the embarrassment of her actions and how it might affect the family because, again, that's Meghan. She doesn't care. Call your dad, Meghan. I know you're watching this. Call your dad. I really do feel for Thomas Sr. When I read this stuff again about her wedding and her mom being there and stuff and the things that I know about Doria now and then knowing that Thomas wasn't able to be there and he really wanted to be, it just breaks my heart for him. Anyway, I digress. So they go in to explain that Meghan actually called her suit's family, and I'm laughing thinking about how they've pretty much disowned her now, except for that loudmouth guy that speaks up to kiss her ass every 5 minutes, but even he has kind of backed off, in my opinion. What's his, Patrick J. Adams or whatever? Even he seems to have backed off, but I really like the lady that said, we don't have her number. I like her. Anyway, let's see here. So she brings up the people that were important to Meghan that she called family were her suit's family, which, again, funny because didn't they say in another book we found out she didn't even fully invite them. She invited them to the wedding, but I believe they weren't allowed to go to the reception, something like that. It was so pretentious and such, again, just an asshole move, if you ask me. Jessica Mulroney was there. Can't stand her. Marcus Anderson, can't stand him. Oprah, can't stand her. Like, you want to keep going? Gayle King, can't stand her. To everyone at the palace, her management of the invitation list seemed just completely inappropriate. And again, she's saying, hold my beer. I've got a lot more inappropriate things coming up. Don't worry, this is just the beginning. Royal and aristocratic weddings they're not occasions for the bride and groom to ratify their humanitarian credentials before the eyes of the world. So this is what I was talking about, where she invited all these people to make them look like humanitarians, but their actual family, she couldn't bother to invite. That's awful. But look at her now. Look at them both. They're out there lecturing people on everything, on parenting, and they can't be bothered to do a thing with those kids. It's so bizarre. Okay. So then I'm going ahead because there's not really any new stuff for a few pages, but let's keep going. So she goes into one of my favorite parts. Again, this was in the original, but I don't care. It bears talking about again. 3 days after the wedding, Harry and Meghan attended the infamous garden party at Buckingham Palace. It was celebrating Prince Charles's 70th birthday. Holy crap. All right. There were tons of representatives for his many charities and his associates. Meghan, oh goodness, Lady C goes into that Meghan looked beautiful that day and chic and Harry, and she stepped out onto the lawn, right? Then They said that she charmed everyone, but then 15 minutes into the event, she turned to Harry and said, "Harry, this is really boring. Let's leave." So to his credit, Harry informed her that they'd have to stay. "But Harry, this is so boring. We've done our bit. Everyone knows we're here. Let's go." Harry put his foot down, informing her yet again that they would have to stay, and they moved on. Oh my God. Can you imagine? What a nightmare. Everything has to be about her. We are just days after the wedding. Even if you feel this way, I mean, you teach your freaking 3-year-old not to say things like this if they're in an event, you know what I mean? Or whatever, 6-year-old, not to say things like this. Like, you cannot say you're bored. People did nice things for you. You be nice, you know, whatever. People just did nice things for her and she cannot be nice. Awful person. Okay, then we get into chapter 7. Now you'll appreciate this part. And I am on page 196 if you're reading along with me, because you're going to want to see this. Royal women usually wear colored garments so that they'll stand out in a crowd. It's deemed polite that you make yourself visible to those who have taken the trouble to come and see you. It is one of the many minor unspoken protocols based upon consideration under which all royals function. It's a form of respect to the public, and disregarding the protocol disrespects both the public and the sentiment behind the custom. Well, you can imagine where I'm going with this. And again, she goes so good into all the times Meghan just completely wore the most disrespectful things, from color to the evening dress during the day, the off the shoulders, things like that. And Lady C points out she was often found in colors of mourning, such as black being her favorite, but also gray and white featuring as variables. Then she's, oh my God, my southern accent just came out. Variables? We try to get variables sometimes that happens. With beige thrown in for good measure when she required a change of pace. So I'm rethinking everything now. So was this a color message to us? Black with the royal family, because I was in mourning. They were so mean to me and oppressive by welcoming me and throwing me a multi-million-dollar wedding and paying for everything and taking care of all of everything. They're so mean to me. I need to wear black. But then when she wanted to vary things up, she'd wear beige. But again, what did she say again? Like, I couldn't wear the same color as a working, whatever, senior member of the royal family. Working, I think, actually made more sense there because she was not a working member, but literally not a working member. But yeah, so she's talking about how she liked to go to black and beige. And again, she's just dropped the black and just gone beige. She goes into how her outfits were often, again, disrespectful. It didn't go with the protocol. And again, my opinion is to show, oh, look how sad I was. I had to wear beige, even though that's all she wears now, or black, you know what I mean? But also, I think it was her way of playing, look at me, but in verse. The royal women do it to have people be able to see them because, again, it's a respectful gesture. It's what they do. Like, they're here to see you. They know that. Let's make it easier for them. Meghan wants people to focus on her. So it wouldn't surprise me if that's why she did the beige and the black and stuff. It's like a reverse look at me, or I don't know. Let's make everything about myself. Okay, so after the wedding, Harry was losing respect all over the place. I think that has continued on. So what a pity. He had gone from being a trying teenager to a respected young man, and then super popular with everyone. And then there's Meghan. So by the early days of Meghan and Harry's marriage, his posture had changed. He and his, I love this so much. Lady C calls it, he and his latest other half, just like I've heard people call her Harry's first wife, he and his latest other half were no longer just another couple amongst friends. There was an aura of specialness that they emanated from themselves jointly. So they thought themselves more evolved, more woke. They were no longer, this is, again, this part I'm reading straight from the book, so don't get mad at me. People hate that word woke. I don't care. They were no longer ordinary human beings, but extraordinary people whose awareness of their destiny to change and save the world separated them from mere mortals. And again, I laugh thinking about how much they have sunk since, this original part came out. All right. So then remember, she had this us against the world attitude, and that's what began to predominate after they were married. She started putting distance between Harry and some of his oldest and closest friends. I actually think that was happening even before the wedding. I've heard the stories where she met the friends and was such a bitch, allegedly, didn't like them making jokes in front of her and stuff like that. I don't know. Even if some version of that is true, even if we're playing a telephone game, that's a little true. I'm just like, really? The first time you meet somebody? Is that her thing? I'm thinking about the first time she met the whales. And it sounds like she was awful and throwing everybody off and trying to hug strangers, and then calling them out for not wanting to be hugged by a stranger. It just seems like she lays it on thick the first time with everybody, and the only one that was dumb enough to fall for it was Harry. So it sounds like after the wedding, she just couldn't even be bothered to pretend to be friendly anymore. She didn't make any attempt to fit in the way she had done previously. Sounds like it had a dampening effect on Harry, and I don't like to blame her because I think he's just as guilty, if not more sometimes. It's his family. But truly, they are dreadful people, and they make each other worse, but they deserve each other, right? Enjoy the hell of your own making. But I just get stuck on that. Couldn't even be bothered. Just days after the wedding, it sounds like, probably even before that. But they go in to explain this interaction at a wedding she went to, and I wonder if it was the one where she wore that horrible dress, that blue, was it Oscar de la Renta dress? That was like 5,000 pounds or something, and so messy. It had the toilet paper fascinator, that one. But I think that was before they were married. This is after they were married. Apparently, or allegedly, Meghan was there at this wedding and waiting for Harry. He was doing, I don't know, best man duties or something. And this woman went up to Meghan, introduced herself, and said how beautiful she thought Meghan was. She said she knew it was Meghan's birthday and wished her a happy birthday. Meghan looked at her as if she had committed a great faux pas by speaking to her. Can you imagine? And without saying a word, just walked off. And according to this woman, it was so cold, and there was somebody else that had witnessed the exchange and backed it up and verified it and talked about how completely rude it was. What a bitch. You can't even say thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate that. Nothing. Just be a person or be humble or gracious. Nothing. They can't do it. Oh, she goes into how they would huddle together, putting up an invisible barrier between themselves and the little people, everybody else, right? The peons. And as if they were only couple who had ever been in love, and that everyone present was of such insignificance they had no time for them, rather than partake of the occasion by, talking to people, trying to fit in. No, they couldn't be bothered. Completely absorbed in each other, whispering in each other's ears. If they were the only two people that existed. Lady C goes into why whispering is bad manners. Amen. It excludes others, and Harry and Meghan seem to have no awareness. So that's Lady C's opinion. My opinion is he never has any awareness, but I know she knows what she was doing. I think it's like she watched a movie or something that rich people act like a-holes. So she's like, okay, I'm that now, or fancy people or something. I'm that now. And even in a different part of the book, Lady C explains the truly top of the top, whatever, ultra wealthy, they're actually usually pretty nice, to regular people. It's the people that aren't as wealthy that are a-holes because they're pretending to be. So I'm like, All right. And then we're about to get to Eugenie's wedding. So I'm going to do that in the next one. But let me tell you about this part. I just want to remind you all, this may have been in the original book. I don't care. Let's think about this. Allegedly, they were telling people that everyone, with the exception of the Queen, was jealous of them. This came screaming back to me because that seems to be a common theme. A lot of these authors I've read have said the same, that they told people that everyone, again, minus the Queen, were jealous of them. And Lady C goes on to explain, well, everyone actually means William and Catherine. Wrap your head around that. The future king and queen. They think that William and Catherine are jealous of them. It's not that I'm shocked by this because I have heard this before. It's just a shocking thing for anybody to believe, especially these two. Difference is William and Catherine actually have power. They actually have a loving relationship. They don't have to do parlor tricks to try to convince everybody of this. They're actually good people who do, that's a lot of actuallys, but who do good things and don't have to tell us all the time that they're wonderful, because we can see that they're wonderful. It's, oh my God, I just can't with these two. I can't. So we're going to leave this here. Guys, I'm loving this. I really am. I'm loving going back over this book. I'm loving Lady C, all of it. She's fabulous. This is wonderful. So thank you guys so much for being here. I want you to know how much you mean to me and your kind words mean to me. And you really have your kindness while I'm recapping this book. I just can't even tell you. It warms my heart so much. It truly does. I appreciate you all for watching, for commenting, all the things. Let me know your thoughts on all this. I'm sorry, I'm stuck on this. They thought that William and Catherine were jealous of them. They thought everybody in the royal family was jealous of them. That's basically what Numbnuts said in his memoir, right? That Meghan had Diana Stardust or some bullshit like that. I don't care. It's such bullshit. Oh, I want to be that delusional. I really do. I feel like I'd be a lot happier going through my life if I had whatever affliction they have, head up your own ass disease. But guys, thank you for being here. I appreciate you all so much. I cannot wait to keep going with this book. Thank you for joining me on this. And if you want to further support, definitely check out Patreon. Patreon.com/Real Housewives Recaps. That's where we do the bonus deep dives and content, and we have a lot of fun over there. So check that out if you're at all interested. Thank you for everything. I'll talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.